Hi, my name is Nikki, and welcome to Inviting Space, where I invade your space and let you know my opinions on what I would do to make it more inviting and open and a place that you're proud to bring back friends and family and have people over. Today, and probably most of the time, I am in our male living space on Reddit, and I thought I'd help out at least one gentleman today who could use a little bit of sprucing up. One of the first ones that I found was by Charming Opposite 127, who is 22 years old and needs some suggestions for his living room. I thought that this was great because he really doesn't have anything too offensive. It feels like a pretty normal apartment. I know he's 22. I don't want to be too assumptive, but I'm assuming he doesn't have that big of a budget, so I'm not going to do anything too crazy, but I definitely see things here that he could do to really spruce things up and just make it feel more exciting and inviting and a place that he feels more comfortable in and is just more excited about. So let's talk about a few things right off the bat. I feel like, there's a lot of beige and it looks like not a lot of color. I think he definitely has room to amp up some accent color in here. I see this little pop of red, which I love. So I would like to play with the color red and give some nice pops of red in this space. The color red really does amplify and it energizes. So I think that'll be really nice in this space. I also see he's not afraid of plants. Like he does have little plants here. So I would love to bring in a little bit more layering with a little bit more plants. Something else right off the bat that I'm noticing are these blinds. I would definitely take these down and get more of a Roman shade solution. I don't think I would do a curtain. And you're 22. I feel like a curtain's not necessary, but I feel like a nice like little Roman shade if you still want the privacy. And if you don't want the privacy or don't need it, like it looks like you might be higher up and have lots of greenery. If you don't feel like you actually even need or use the shades, I would just remove them completely and you don't even necessarily need to put anything else up and just let all of that natural light in. But right now, especially like I don't know what's going on up here, but it is quite a big eyesore. Um, so let's take a look over at some things that I did. So, and also just a few notes too that I'm not going to be able to necessarily show because my editing skills aren't quite there yet. But I would definitely give these couch cushions some TLC. Definitely like take them out the couch, like really pat them and like reinvigorate them, like rearrange the stuffing in there. You can always do that and it makes the couch look brand new. So I would really get those off the couch, really beat them, really put them back into place, give them some love and like give them a bit more restructuring. Also, I don't know what kind of foaming or padding is in there, but you could also potentially restuff if they're still feeling a bit flat. But I would pull this couch off of the wall just a bit. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just even leaving like an inch or two of breathing room behind the wall is nice. Nothing too dramatic, but just so you're not like pressed right up against the wall. I would also pull this rug out just a little bit so it's not right against the door. Even just a few inches, I think would help a lot. And then also with this ottoman, I would not have your blanket on the ottoman. It's really competing with a rug right now. It's like way too similar. And it's just a lot of competition there. So I would fold this blanket up and put it in this nice basket that you have over here. No one needs to display their throw blankets. I know sometimes it's like cute to have like a little throw or something on the couch, but honestly, in my opinion, just keep your throw blankets folded up and like in a basket like this or somewhere not in view because the best blankets are usually not the most appealing. And then I would pull this ottoman out and have it in the center here and get a nice large tray table so it can act as more of a coffee table. So let's take a look at some of my first designs and we can keep going on some advice. So what I did was I took the shelves back here that were mix matched heights and I actually moved them over to the TV wall. I think this is going to help fill out the TV wall. And I don't know about you, but I hate sitting somewhere with like a shelf above me. There's just something unsettling about sitting beneath a shelf. It just kind of, even though you're safe, it just sort of feels like something could fall off or the shelf could fall down and hit you. And it's just not the best feeling when you're sitting down. But I do like the shelves, and it looks like you have a nice little situation going on. So I would just move them to the opposite wall. And you'll see in a later picture, I think you have options. I think you could put the shelves so it looks like one big long shelf and hang them so it's just one long continuous. And I'll show you what that looks like. Or if you want to keep that sort of offsetted look, I think you do have the option to do that above this little art print that's back here. I would also add in a nice taller plant over here in this corner to just add some height, add some more like tall vertical interest to the space, and also start to create some layering. You can now see that there's some nice layering going on and just a lot more visual interest with just adding that nice tall plant. And then over where the shelves are, I would just get a nice big piece of art and I would frame it. I'm thinking like, I know you're probably on a budget, so I would do something like a poster and frame the poster. And I think a square would be really cool, but I think you could also do like a big rectangular poster. And I would do something really like graphic and really colorful. Like I was trying to find ones with red or like just at least these like warmer colors. I have another option too that I found, and I'll link some things that I found for you as well if you're interested. But yeah, I would do some kind of big graphic art back here. I'm sure you can find something cool and something exciting. You can see how I added in these like Roman shades. This is kind of the Roman shade that I was thinking, and I found these on Etsy, and they are customizable, so you can get them in a custom size. So you should be able to get them fitted to these doors. But I think something simple like this would be really nice and could still let in some natural light, but also give privacy if you're still looking for privacy. And then I know this isn't technically your ottoman, but just to show you what the ottoman would look like without the blanket, and then like a nice large tray. I think you could do black or like even like a darker wood tray would be really nice. And you could, put some more books or a little plant or, just a few things out on it just to also add some layering and visual interest. So it's not just the solid white ottoman, and then it also becomes more functional and guests can put their drinks, or you can put your coffee or drink down there. And I kind of did try to pull this couch off of the wall just a little bit, and yeah, this ottoman a little bit more in the center of the room. And then I threw in some IKEA cushions on the couch, once again bringing in that accent color, that red color, I think is really nice and exciting for the space. Definitely just brings in a little bit more of that color contrast. And so yeah, these are just IKEA cushions. I can also link those down. I think even just having two pillows, one on either side, will make it feel a lot cozier and more comfortable. And then also, this is so small, but I noticed this air freshener or air purifier was sitting out a bit further, and I tucked it back a little bit more, and I saw you have that screen. I don't know exactly if air purifiers need to be like super out in the open. I don't personally have one, but I would try to kind of keep it tucked back a little bit, and maybe even tucked back behind that screen and pulling that room divider out a little bit more. But here's like another art option, but just showing how you could get something simple and start bringing in like some reds and warmer colors. So I didn't want you to get distracted if you just didn't like that art piece. So just kind of showing you a couple options. And then, so this was your room before on this side, and just some like a little note on this side, like I mentioned, is just kind of pulling this room divider out a little bit more, tucking this a little bit more behind, pulling everything out just a hair. I think will be nice. And then I also moved this little art print up above here. I just didn't want it to compete with the big art print that you would put here. So I thought like kind of putting it a little bit more towards the kitchen and making it more of a kitchen piece of art would help with that. So yeah, I just used this art for example, but you can see how, it shifts the space to kind of just pull this even just a little bit more, and having that air purifier tucked, having this art up here. Once again, doesn't have to be this specifically, but just having one larger piece of art above the couch, these cushions, adding some of that color, pulling that ottoman out, and having a nice tray table. It already just looks a lot more cozy and relaxed and inviting, but also exciting with the red. Okay, and then here's your view of just the TV. And then, so here's a view with those stacked shelves or the offset shelves, which I think could still be nice. You know, just a view of like the little Roman shade, the plant. I added your basket, but just like with a blanket sticking out, because you'll put your blanket in there. And then here's a view with the shelves more just straight across. I do think that could be really nice as well, because I was noticing that it does feel off balance, like everything's so weighted towards this side of the room, and then there's not really anything over here. And I played with putting like a little art print above the light switch, but it honestly looked too cluttered. So I do think just actually even having the shelves straight across could be really nice and not make the room feel so weighted on the other side, and just even things out a little bit more. So I would personally probably actually move in this direction of just having the larger straight across shelf, but you can definitely play around with it and see what suits you best. I do think this plant over here is really nice. And I think that's it. So those are my top suggestions for you. I think that they're all very simple and doable and shouldn't cost you too much money. I'll link those Roman shades, the IKEA cushion covers, and I'm trying to think if there's any. Oh, yeah, and the art prints, just in case you did like the art prints. So I'll link those below. Thank you for submitting this on Male Living Space. I know no one asked my opinion, but that is what I would do to create a more comfy and inviting space in this situation. And if you are watching this video and would like me to review your space and make it more open and inviting, I am linking a submission form on this video, and it's also linked on my channel. Please submit your space. I would love to come in and help you make it more inviting. Thank you so much for watching. I'm a brand new channel, so please like this video and subscribe. Thanks so much.